Hello, hello. Welcome to the Nighthawk Racing #1st Championship. I'm Sarah Hawkins, also known as Sarah Hawkey, and I'll be your host this evening and one of your co-commentators for this Gran Turismo 7 base championship. I'm joined by the other Nighthawk founder, motorsport enthusiast, racer, and co-commentator, Midnight ISO.
Hello, pleasure to be here in the commentary booth alongside you, Sarah. And I think we're in for a good race here this evening, especially after what we saw last week. And again, it's always a pleasure being here alongside yourself.
Thank you, appreciate that. So, here's a quick series rundown for anyone that's new to the channel. We are back and better than ever for Season 2 of the Nighthawk Racing First Championship. We have an 8-event championship spanning over 16 race sessions and 8 weeks. Lots of different car manufacturers on the grid tonight, potentially over 27 drivers, and some great tracks on the calendar coming up. The format tonight is similar to the last couple of races of Season 1. We have 3 official time sessions with a reverse grid sprint race up first, followed by a qualifying, and then we'll be treated to a 38 lap feature race, all at the fictional track of the Kyoto Yamagiwa. Okay, Midnight, could you give us a quick overview of the event session format and point scale, please?
Absolutely, not a problem. First up, as Sarah already said, we're doing this in a slightly different format to the race that we had first this season. However, it is, as previously said, similar to what we had at the end of last season. So it will go a reverse championship position for the first session, which will be the sprint race, and it'll be reverse championship position with any new drivers starting behind the drivers that have already scored. The next session will be a 10-minute qualifying, which will set the grid for the feature race, which I believe will be, it's 38 or 39 laps, can't remember which at this point, and we'll go and enjoy that. But the tyre wear is set to ×5 and the fuel burn is set to ×3. So it looks like it's going to be good out there. We should be expecting some dry weather, so at least we won't have to worry about slippery, wet conditions here at Yamagiwa. And it is a track that is a bit divisive for a lot of the drivers. It's a very much love-hate relationship with this track. But to the points for the last bits and pieces, there are 3 points for qualifying on first, 2 for second, 1 for third. The sprint and the feature race will both have points for the fastest laps, 1 for the sprint race and 2 in the feature race. The points for the finishing positions in the sprint race range from 12 down to 1 from first to 12th, and in the feature race it's very similar to F1 scoring, so 25 points for first, and then it decreases down to 1 point for 14th. But I think we have 9 drivers tonight, so we shouldn't have to worry about the lower points. But it's points up for grabs each and every driver out there, and we're going to see what happens and see if each individual driver can climb up their championship order today.
Yeah, obviously 9 drivers, a lot of points up for grabs tonight. And before we get into the racing action of tonight, we have a quick look at last week's sprint race podium. So we had Coach coming home in first place for the first sprint race of the season for Lobby 2. In second, we then had Lee, his first Nighthawk podium, and I know he was waiting for quite a while to get that podium. And then in P3, a newcomer to the championship, Yvonne, in the Beetle, the only Beetle running in the championship, getting that third place in her first race on controller. And then a quick little look at last week's feature race as well. We had Coach coming home with a double win, a sprint and a feature race win, which promoted him into Lobby 1. We then had Koulios in P2. Again, he then got promoted into Lobby 1 this week. And our last promotion into Lobby 1, and also getting third place, is Hartman, who all 3 had a really spectacular showing in Lobby 1 this evening. And I'm sure everyone else in Lobby 2 is going to show us some more spectacular driving. Before we head over, here's the championship standings after round 1. As you can see, we have P1 all the way down to P22. So a lot of people, a lot of points, and I'm sure everyone will be juggling around after round 2.
Yeah, exactly that, Sarah. And as you said, we run a promotion system where if you do well and you're higher than 1 point than anyone in lobby 1, you switch places essentially. So there's a lot of benefit to scoring well. You get to go up into the top flight and have fun there. But even then, the battles are fierce down in lobby 2 as well. And yeah, I think we're in for a good race this evening, and they're all fighting for that the honour to be promoted.
Yeah, and obviously going back to, obviously we have 2 splits, 2 lobbies. It doesn't mean that obviously there's different skill levels. I think everyone across the board, very talented drivers. So yeah, drivers in both lobbies, very talented, very quick, and I'm excited to see the race in action of round 2.
Exactly that. And coming up, we have the Yamagiwa track, which is it's a 3-mile long track, which is going to be an anti-clockwise track and an absolute test for all of our drivers. We know it's a high tyre wear circuit, and it's going to test the raw speed of all the drivers here, the raw talent, and as well as strategy. So, Sarah, I think we should get on with it and then go over to the sprint race and enjoy ourselves.
Yeah, let's get into it. Right, well, before we get into the race, we're just going to do a quick driver overview of all the people that we expect on the grid tonight. So starting off, we have LB Racing, also known as Lewis. LB Racing, like I say, also known as Lewis, is a newcomer to the Nighthawk Championship, driving the BMW M6, a car that can be sometimes tricky to handle, obviously being very rear end happy sometimes in difficult conditions, but I'm sure Lewis will extract all the performance out of the car and secure some decent points tonight. Lewis is a regular driver and commentator for CC Sim Racing, as well as a brand ambassador for Racers Collective. Lewis races both virtually and in real life, currently competing in the 2024 FP4K Championship, which is a karting championship which travels around the UK, racing at different karting circuits. Lewis is currently in 20th place after round 1 with 15 points. Next up, we have Sophia. Sophia is a very quick driver who is comfortable trying different cars, like we say, extracting good performances out of cars which people are sometimes a little bit afraid to drive. Sophia is driving the Renault RS01 tonight, which is a car that definitely goes under the radar a little bit. But with Sophia behind the wheel, I'm sure that we will see both Sophia and the Renault on the podium very soon. She always offers a helping hand to drivers, suggesting different strategies to use, different car choices, and definitely some tips on track. Sophia is currently in 17th place with 19 points. Our next driver, we then have Ripin Deterin. He's a newcomer to the championship tonight, driving his first Nighthawk event tonight around Yamagiwa in the 4GT, which is a car that hasn't been used so far in last season, and it's got its first outing tonight. So we'll see the car on track for the first time. A car which I think we all know is a bit of a gas guzzler, but Ripin is a fast driver and regularly competes in CCSR events as well. Good luck tonight and enjoy the race. Next up, we then have Bertie. I'm going to start with what Midnight usually says. We know 3 things about Big Crazy Bertie. He's big, he's crazy, and he's Bertie. Well, actually Dave. One of our Nighthawk Racing admin team and the Lobby 2 host. Bertie decided to swap out of the McLaren into the Subaru BRZ this season, so a new challenge is on the horizon for Bertie in Season 2. Bertie tends to have a quiet but consistent races, going under the radar until the final lap, usually securing himself a big haul of points. Bertie is currently in 13th place with 25 points. Our next driver is Lee. Lee is also known as PMR Lee after recently becoming the Power Max Racing esports manager and team principal. Season 2, Lee is back in one of his favourite cars in the Porsche 911, a car which he feels confident and comfortable in, which shows with some of the moves Lee was able to pull off in race 1 last week. Hopefully we will see the same again tonight. Lee will be on a high coming into tonight after securing himself his first ever Nighthawk podium last week, which we all know he's been patiently waiting for. Good luck, Lee. Excited to see you rocking the Porsche around Yamagiwa. Lee is currently in 14th place with 25 points also, so tying with Bertie. Our next driver we have tonight is Yvonne. Yvonne back again tonight driving that VW Beetle, the only Beetle on the grid, and after getting a podium in her first Nighthawk race last week, she'll be looking to do the same again here tonight, I'm sure. Yvonne is the community manager and one of the organisers behind the Inner Esports and Screen to Speed team, which looks to increase the amount of women within the industry and providing a platform for women within motorsport. Yvonne is currently in 16th place with 22 points. We then have Simon driving the RX Vision again tonight. Before last week, Simon was very new to the game and driving on GT7, so with every race Simon is gaining more experience and confidence. It's good to see Simon improving race on race, and I'm sure by the end of the championship we will see Simon with more experience and potentially fighting for positions. Tonight is Simon's second ever competitive race, and Simon is in 21st place on for 13 points. We then have our very own Ziggy, the Zig Star as we call him, a member of the Nighthawk Racing admin team and an absolute gem and gentleman. He is also one of our 2 Portuguese delegates. He is vastly experienced in racing in various leagues such as TTR, CCSR, CRT, SRF, and is an integral member of both the Roadblock and Nighthawk team. He recently competed in the TTR WEC series a few months ago last year in the Group 4 category and did himself proud with good results all round and around the top end of the field, and is known for his CCSR podiums and pole positions back in the day. Tonight, Ziggy is driving the Toyota Supra, a new car for Ziggy this season, so some new characteristics to learn, but best of luck, Ziggy. We then have Piper, another new addition to the Nighthawk grid tonight. We met Piper on the last night of GT Sport servers being active. GT Sport obviously being a game which brought many of us together, so it's a pleasure to have Piper racing here tonight with us. Piper is also a member of the United Sim Racing Boys, which has the likes of McManley and Deadline. Piper will be racing in the sprint race tonight only due to work, but he will be driving in the Dodge Viper. I can sense a catchphrase being used here. Piper in the Viper. Best of luck, Piper, and hopefully we'll see you back for more races. Well, that rounds out the Nighthawk Racing grid for Lobby 2 tonight, and what a grid we've got. I'm excited to get into the comms box and watch the racing commence.
Right, time for the sprint race, Sarah.
Yes, time for the sprint race.
Simon on pole.
Simon on pole. We have LB Racing, Sophia quite high up as well. And then we have Yvonne, Lee, Piper, Bertie, Ripon, Deterran, and Ziggy.
Yep, good field there. Good bit of a mix of cars and even skill levels. But again, everyone is doing very well and improving race upon race. And we've got Simon leading the pack still, and LB Racing and Sophia both attempting to wrestle it off him down into turn 6. And LB Racing goes for it. Oh, and I think we've just lost Simon into the barrier. He's got a little bit of damage after some contact what looked like Sophia. So that's not good for his race.
Sophia also coming off in the same corner as well. Obviously damage free, but won't help that forward trajectory.
Yeah, quite right. That's worked out quite nicely for LB Lewis, who is now taking the lead and is followed by our very own Lee with PMR Racing. He's going to be after his first series win, I feel. So
yeah, he's he's got up there to second quite quickly. Obviously, starting in 5th place. So yeah, he's not messing about. Oh, loses it a little bit there.
Good
Does Lee.
recovery.
Good recovery, keeps it out of the barrier, damage free, which will help him towards the end of the race. As we see, Ripin de Terrin taking that 3rd place at the moment.
Yep, another new driver to us.
In the Ford GT, we don't see that car used a lot, so it's good to see it used. And I like the purple.
It is an absolutely gorgeous livery. He takes a very wide line through turn 1, like trying to go around the. Did Lee go down the inside of him, or did Ripon Deterra try to go the outside?
Yeah.
Wow.
They went side by side, and Lee just managed to get that inside line just before, which, I think definitely helped Lee get. He found the door; it was wide open. Saying here again, Lee goes into the inside, opens it, tries to go in that open door between Yvonne. Oh, Ripon Deterra does face the wrong way. Very similar to what Midnight did in Lobby 1. Sorry to bring that up again.
Thanks for reminding me.
Sorry to bring. A little bit of a battle brewing here between Yvonne and Lee, which is good to see. Everyone very close together after lap 1.
Yeah, and it's. I think I'm not. My money's going to be on LB Lewis at the moment. He's the only one on medium tyres, and this is one thing we learned from Lobby 1 is this track is severely hard wearing on those tyres, and I think he might be the only one who has tyres to go to the end. Lee, Yvonne, both running the soft tyre, and that puts Bertie in P4 in a very good position on the medium tyres as well. But Sophia's coming back at him round the outside of the final corner, Sarah.
Yeah, these two going side by side currently, going into the start-finish straight. Bertie just tucks behind Sophia, getting a little bit of that slipstream. See if he makes a lunge for it into turn 1. Looks like he's just keeping behind Sophia for now. But yeah, everyone kind of 3 laps in, settling in nicely. Like you said, one thing we learned from Lobby 1 is that the tyre degradation is so high around this track. So it'd be kind of interesting to see how the tyre life is at the end. Yeah, but again, very close there.
Yeah,
very close.
I'll admit that's something I did a couple of times, and you'd left absolutely wondering if you're going to hit the barrier on either side or both of them. And so Sophia pushes her luck coming out of turn 6, gets up on the curb, but gets away with it, and is up to 3rd position, getting Bertie and Yvonne both in half a lap.
Yeah, Sophia's definitely not waiting around.
It's carrying damage as well, front aero and front right suspension. So it's carrying an injury on that car, but it's definitely still pushing.
Yeah, and like I said last time, Sophia's kind of like one of those drivers that she doesn't really use kind of the OG cars or LB Racing going around there.
Rear end damage. He might just about get away with it. He may still maintain the lead, but Lee's coming at him, and we've got a bit of ghosting going on. Actually, that's surprising. But obviously, that's going to continue on down to 1st corner, so we should stay with this.
Yeah, I was going to say, don't see it very often where 2 cars are kind of that's taken side by side into a completely different dimension. There, they were basically inside each other. But yes, side by side going into turn 1. About to go through the S section here. Lee is in the lead. Is Lee on for his first win of the season?
It could be.
And the first race win of the Nighthawk, in the Nighthawk family over season 1 and season 2. Could be his first win on the cards.
Could well be, but the one thing I'm not liking is that tyre wear on the front right. But that LB Racing on the mediums has still got a similar tyre wear to him, so I don't think he's guaranteed for a no pit stop race either, even though it's only a 15-minute sprint. And the only one who's looking good at the moment is my money's actually. I'm going to change my mind, and my money's on Sophia at the moment. The only one with decent tyres at we're not even halfway yet, and we're looking at a pit stop in the very near future already.
Yeah, just goes to show the tyre degradation around this track is incredibly high. But yeah, going back to my point about Sophia, she's good at keeping the tyre life for as long as she can, and also she's quite good at using the cars which aren't necessarily very high on top end speed. She kind of picks a car that's a good all rounder, but not a lot of people choose. So yeah, we branded the Renault as the dark horse, and not many people used it in season one. But yeah, Sophia getting every inch of performance out of that Renault so far.
Yeah, I've just spotted there was a bit potential collision between Ziggy and Simon in P8, but Simon's up and running again. He was off the track momentarily, and yeah, there's a lot still going on throughout the tracks area. Yvonne just keeping a watchful eye in P4, Bertie in P5, both on for some good points.
Yeah, both doing really well so far. Like you say, not too far apart from each other, Yvonne and Bertie. But yeah, this group 1 to 3rd with Lee, Lewis, and Sophia.
Sorry, more action with Lewis. I think he came out absolutely sideways of one of the first chicane and was like, whoo, facing the wrong way momentarily. So gathered that up nicely.
Typical BMW driver there.
Yep.
Going sideways into a corner.
Yeah, and I heard they don't even have indicators on this car as well.
Oh yeah. That's taken being a BMW driver to a whole nother level.
I completely agree. Those that know, yeah, know. I'm surprised Sophia's not gone for the move yet, though, Sarah. She's just sitting, having a watchful eye. Oh, she potentially is making the move now. It looked like she was just sitting, taking her time on making this move. And then she goes down into turn 1, takes the inside line. Lewis is still there on the outside, but there you go, Sophia's through, and the move is now done.
Yeah, getting the move done quite early into the lap definitely will put Sophia in a good position, chasing after Lee. Yeah, just looking further back as well. Obviously, Yvonne not too far off the back of Lewis now, with Bertie just behind her. So yeah, I mean, it's good to see so many drivers so close to each other, and kind of you can't rest in these lobbies. You've always got to keep on it.
Exactly that. And I want to give a shout out as well to Piper, who is the first time joining us, who we both personally met on the final day of GT Sport, and he's been with us ever since, but this is the first time he's been able to come racing in the Nighthawk Racing League and family. So pleasure to have him here, and he's brought his own American Viper, giving us a bit of a flavour of the Americas here at Yamagiwa today.
Piper in the Viper. Unfortunately, sorry to interrupt you there. We had a swap of positions again between Lewis and Sophia. Sophia going a little bit wide and saying hello to the barrier there, which lost her a little bit of time to Lewis, but I'm sure she'll keep on the back of him and try and overtake him again.
Yeah, I can only feel at this moment she needs to be a little bit more patient. She's got tyres that will definitely go to the end and outlast Lewis and Lee, Lee's on the soft as well, as we know. But you don't know what your competitor is on tyre-wise, nor what state their tyres are in until you finish the race. As Piper, in the Viper, is pitted from 7th, who's probably just had enough of carrying a little bit of damage. He's had that since lap 1, so I think he's just come in for some fresh boots and have a bit of fun, go through some soft tyres.
Yeah, why not? See what sort of pace he can pull off in the set of softs in that car. And like I said, it's all about data gathering. So the sprint race usually is for people to see kind of how long tyres do last when they're fully pushing, what sort of strategy they need to go for or they need to change in order to get as many places as they can in the feature race. So yeah, the sprint race is definitely helpful for that initial data gathering.
Yeah, quite right. What they learn here, they'll definitely apply again in the feature race. I'll tell you what,
or scrap completely.
Or scrap completely. As I did the other way around. I took what I learned in the sprint race and I threw it away, which I shouldn't have done. Hindsight's a wonderful thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it happens.
Well, I'll tell you what, Yvonne definitely running on what looks like a flat tyre. So that Beetle is not going to be handling very nicely. Will she pit? Will she? Heck, absolutely not. Stays out. I think we're at the point of that race, 11.5 minutes in, where you kind of just have to dig your heels in and just make it to the end. What do you think?
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's, do I hold track position, or do I pit, get a set of softs, and have a little bit of kind of a few laps dash towards the end? Personally, in a race like this, I'll probably keep track condition, track position. Sorry, as I saw, I completely got distracted by Lewis drifting around that corner there. But yeah, if I was Yvonne, I'd be keeping track position at the moment, picking up as many points as you can, and like I say, taking that data going into the feature race, and maybe potentially changing her strategy a little bit.
Yeah, quite right. And it looked like Sophia got past Lewis there briefly, but then let Lewis back through. So something going on between those two drivers. Maybe Sophia thought it was an unfair move and gave the place back. But it's still going.
I was going to say the battle between these two has it's been quite a few laps between the two, swapping positions, but it's nice and clean, nice and respectful.
That's what
so
like
it's good to see. Yeah, we like to see it, and it's good to see these two fighting it out. But in the lead, I mean, quite a quiet race. But we have Lee, who potentially, as it stands, is on for his first ever Nighthawk racing podium. Well, win, sorry. And another podium.
Yeah.
Is what I meant to say.
So yeah, I mean,
week, yeah, he's I mean, he's back in a car that he finds comfortable. He's back in his favourite car, so he's extracting every performance and every inch of kind of
he's getting the most.
Every inch of rubber, yeah, every inch of rubber out of that that set of softs. So yeah, doing really well, and hopefully he can carry on like this into the feature race.
I would agree with you, and I can tell you now that Lee is running the right hand side. Both of those soft tyres are completely red. They are spent. But
maybe they're taking a recommendation off of Coach. Obviously, Coach taking a double win last week in Lobby 2. Maybe they saw that he was running on rims quite a lot round Interlagos, so maybe they're taking a few pages out of his book.
Starting a trend.
Yeah, the no tyre trend.
Battle brewing as well. Bertie's got onto the back of Yvonne, but he's still got tyre life left in those medium tyres, and Yvonne is one tyre down, too close to being gone. But I think there's only going to be one more lap, Sarah. So almost at the 15-minute mark. I think most drivers will get on to the next lap. Lee's definitely there, but he's being chased down by Sophia, so it's going to be close towards the end. Lewis looks like he's consolidated third place at this point, and Yvonne's just going to have to fend off Bertie. Where's your money at, Sarah?
Oh, I think Lee has definitely got this one in the bag. That gap is still over a couple of seconds, so as long as he can keep it calm, keep it cool, keep it collective, I'm sure the win is on the cards for sure. I think Sophia and Lewis, yeah, it's pretty much settled there between the two, but you never know. Things happen on the last lap, so I say this all now. I don't want to, curse anyone, commentators curse, but we've already had Piper that's finished down in 7th place.
Yeah, and Ripper Taterin has gotten onto the back of Bertie as well, despite that spin on, I think it was lap 2. So he's definitely made a good recovery there, and it's going to be a trio of drivers finishing like side by side at this point, from Yvonne to Bertie and Ripper Taterin.
Yeah, and saying that, if this sprint race was any longer, Sophia might have been on for the win here because of how close.
Do you know what? I think she's gonna try for it. Lee's going defensive.
He's gonna try and make that Porsche as wide as he can going into this final corner here.
Yeah, I think he's done it though. He's just got away with it. He had enough grip left in those rear tyres. and he's going to be absolutely ecstatic with that. Takes the win. Sophia second, LB Lewis third, Yvonne fourth, Bertie fifth, and Ripper Terran sixth, one after the other. That was
Yeah,
right to the
everyone
end.
really close together. Yeah, 1 to 6, basically all close together. So, which is lovely to see.
Yeah, that was a good race by them all. Wow. Well, that was one heck of a end to the race there. I mean, that Lee absolutely on those dead soft tyres, taking it right to the end. And, well, Sophia narrowly missing out on the win, but I think she'll be happy with the performance all in all. Any particular highlights from that one for you, Sarah?
Oh, it's got to be Lee getting his first win, his first Nighthawk racing win. I know he's been wanting it for a while, and I know he's been trying his best. So congratulations, Lee. And I think Sophia, if that race was any longer, would have been challenging and making Lee defend that a little bit more. So I'm sure she'll be happy with a second place, but she'll also probably be thinking, if that was just one lap longer, I just might have got it.
Yeah, quite right. I also want to give a shout out to our first time drivers, Ripper Deterran, who obviously had a bit of a spin somewhere in the early part of the race and has made his way back up to sixth, and Piper in the Viper, who has come through and picked up some solid points in his first race. And for what I could see, a very solid race. And it was also good to see one of our own admin, Ziggy, back in the car, in the Supra on this occasion. Racing with us again, and Simon getting some more laps in and improving no end as well. It's impressive how much he's improved just from race one. And again, as I said then, he only has tens of hours in this game, not hundreds, so lots more to come from him, Sarah.
Yeah, I know that he's been practicing quite a bit and kind of finding the level ground of what he feels comfortable with, and the driving the tracks over and over again, feeling comfortable with the lines that he needs to take. So I'm excited to see how he does in the feature race.
Yeah, exactly that. And let's move on to that then, shall we?
Yeah.
Right, time for the feature race, Sarah.
Yes, time for the feature race indeed. I'm excited for this.
Yeah, me and you both. Let's see who gets down into the lead into the first corner. It looks like Sophia's taken an early lead straight down into turn one. But LB Lewis coming back at her slightly, trying to go around the outside. Action already, Sarah.
Yeah, as I was just on board with Yvonne, Lee goes into the inside turn one, getting the move done nice and quickly. He looks like he's on the hunt for Ripping to Tearing next.
Lee's back up into P1. He's got Sophia on the outside. Moves all the plenty already.
Yeah, Lewis looks like he's able to kind of manage that BMW and the tricky rear end of that BMW, as we all know.
Yeah, it is a little bit loose, but there's a lot of action going on. Lee going for the... Oh, maybe having a little bit of a feint at Ripping to Tearing there.
Yeah, obviously Lee winning the sprint race, he'll be pumped at this point. He'll be looking to get maybe potentially his second win, if not a podium here.
Yeah, I mean, he'd be absolutely flying high at the moment, as I can see. He's looking all round Ripping to Tearing at the moment. Ripping to Tearing on the medium, Lee also on the medium, so those are tyres that they would have qualified on as well. So they're all thinking about the longer path on the old strategy today. So this is going to continue for several laps, if not the whole stint, as Lee, late move, Ripping to Tearing into the final corner, gets P3. That was ambitious, and it worked.
Yeah, sometimes all it takes is that one ambitious move, catches the other driver out, and you're through.
Yep. Right, so just to give you a quick rundown, Lewis out front on the soft, so that would be how we managed to sneak onto pole position as well, and picked up 3 points for his troubles as well. So taking the early advantage and trying to maximise those soft tyres and get away from Sophia, but as we know, she's quick on regardless of what tyres that she's on. Although giving a bit of a slide into T6 there, that looked good.
A little bit of a drift there, but like I always say, Sophia goes for the cars and tyres not a lot of people choose. So yeah, I think that's where her greatest strengths are. Kind of getting into the groove of a slightly different class, slightly different tyres, and really using it to her advantage.
Yeah, exactly that. Exactly. At the moment, it looks like the race is starting to settle down now. We've got Lewis out front, Sophia keeping a watch on eye. But Lee, it seems like he's on it this week, doesn't he? I mean, after that sprint win, he's keeping the other two honest. And yeah, representing in that 4GT. Good to see that car, that livery, as we said in the sprint, fighting for P4 with Yvonne and Ziggy just behind. Who again, Ziggy's good to see him back in the championship, one of our season 1 drivers, and good to see him racing again with us here at Yamagiwa.
Yeah, obviously swapping from that BMW into the Supra. A little bit of a challenge for Ziggy. Let's see how he does in the feature race tonight.
Yep, and so far so good on the back of Yvonne, trying to go the long way round. Ziggy on the medium tyres this week for the feature race start, and Yvonne on the soft, so she's got the grip to stay in front for the meantime. But as we figured out the sprint, the tyre wear here is severe, so it might only be a matter of time. But enjoy the P5 while you can, Yvonne, and the same will go for Lewis out front in that BMW.
Yeah, as well. Obviously, we saw in the W1's feature race as well how quickly the tyre degradation eats up the tyres around this track. So, yeah, some unique strategy calls coming up, I can guarantee.
Yeah, we'll see how many of them have learned from Coach last week at Interlagos. Are going to run down on those train wheels, as we're going to start having to call them.
Yeah, a lot of drivers deciding to go for the no tyres, or no rubber on the tyres left, I should say. Like I say, they're a lot braver than what I would be.
Sorry, Ziggy having a quick trip off the grass. He got under the rear wing of Yvonne, and just the front end made a bid for freedom. They just got away with it, nearly hit the wall, but he's just fallen back into the clutches of Bertie now. Got away with it, but that would have given him a bit of a scare, maybe a new shorts moment.
A little bit of a Cobra moment there, but yeah, a little off-track excursion, but gets going again.
Yeah, we all have them in sim racing. We all have them. I can speak from experience.
Oh yeah, yeah. You wouldn't be a real sim racer if you didn't, go off track a little bit or touch a barrier. It all comes part and parcel of being a sim.
Completely, and I was just watching Sophia there for a moment, absolutely abusing the curb on the exit to T6 there, and I must say I met good old Barry R, one of our old close friends, but has got away with it all right. I'm watching Lee at the moment. He looks like he's absolutely happy in that car. As we know from last season, he wanted the 911, unfortunately didn't get it in the draw. This season he has, and it suited him down to a T. Don't you agree?
Oh, I couldn't agree more. Obviously, knowing Lee, he loves his Porsche, so it's good to see him back in a car that he feels comfortable with, and it really does boost your confidence when you're in a car that you feel confident in. You know it inside and out. So yeah, like I say, I'm sure smiling from ear to ear with being back in the Porsche and having some results so far.
Yeah, quite right. Somewhere unseen by us, Ziggy has had a trip off into the barrier, so when he's got rear left damage and rear aero, so he's going to be a bit slower on the straights, and Bertie has subsequently gotten past him, so this track bites, and unfortunately Ziggy's found it.
Yeah, with those high-speed corners, it's very easy to kind of go off track that tiny little bit, and it unsettles the car a bit too much to handle. So yeah, a few hits to the barrier here and there would definitely kind of affect someone's race, but keep going, Ziggy, and just use it as a kind of some more time on track, data collecting, and I'm sure you'll be back at high speed ring ready to fight.
Exactly that. Sometimes you just need to put rubber on tarmac and get those miles down, and it's always good to see returning drivers, and particularly one of our own admin back on the track. Just having a look up front, Sarah. Well, all I can tell you is Lewis's tyres on the front right is nearly down to the canvas already after not even 5 laps on those soft tyres. And Sophia homing in already, so the tyre wear starting to bite already.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the kind of the major factors of this track, the tyre degradation and the high speed. Obviously, the two don't really get on well with each other. So the high speed and the high degradation is going to catch a few drivers out, I expect.
Yeah, exactly that. And I think, well, are we going to see a similar strategy to the sprint? Where we're going to see a lot of drivers running, Sophia, off the track again. That wasn't where I was going with that point. But are we going to see a lot of drivers running on the rims? But I guess we're going to find out very shortly, because Yvonne has the soft tyres and so does Lewis, and we're going to find out what the strategy is. What do you think they're going to go for, Sarah? Are we looking at exactly what we saw in the sprint, or are we going to see a lot more pit stops?
Oh, I suspect kind of this first stint, a few drivers might drive a little bit on the rims, kind of to see if the stability's there and if they feel confident driving on minimal tyres. But I suspect later in towards race we will see quite a few pit stops, quite a few different strategies, seeing what tyre works for them. Obviously in lobby 1 we did have a few drivers go to those hard set of tyres, and it was kind of a battle as to, do you want to go longer into the race, but then it will affect your times in general. So I think that will be playing in a lot of drivers' mind, is, do I keep track conditions or do I go for that outright pace?
Battle for the lead, Sarah, battle for the lead. Sophia trying to go around the outside of Lewis into T1, as Lewis is also trying to go into pits. So they almost took each other out and into the barrier. Oh, wow, that was almost a interesting DNF moment there. Woo.
Yeah, that might give Lewis a penalty for crossing that white line. I'm not quite sure. I think both catching each other out there. Lewis diving into the pits.
Well
Sophia
spotted.
obviously going for that overtaking.
Well spotted. I think he's gotten away with it all right. It's not showing on our screen at the moment, but he's on fresh mediums for the moment. I'm not seeing a penalty, so at the moment he's got away with it.
Yeah, good to see. Obviously, we all know that sometimes the game, even if you cross it just that tiny little bit, it likes to give you a warning. So it's good to see LB without a penalty there.
Oh, I've just spotted Ziggy. He's got even more damage. I think he's had another trip into the barrier. He's not had a good one today. I mean, that car looks well. If it was a dog, it would be like having rabies. You have to put that one down, I'm afraid. That car does not look like it's in a good shape at all. So I expect he'll be pitting very soon for some new rubber on those wheels and fix that damage. He's definitely needs some TLC to that car.
Yeah, a questionable analogy there, I've
heard it before.
But I think getting back into the pits, repairing some of that damage, get on a new set of rubber, use this first opening step as a kind of a little bit of practice. We've still got a long race to go, so I think the Supra in general is one of those very hard to get to grips with quite quickly. So I think later on in the season we'll see is a better car. But just for now, like I said earlier, just get the data, get how try and learn the characteristics of the car, and I'm sure it will help towards the end of that season.
We got Simon round again. I think he's had a couple of excursions, but he's going again. Just Sophia puts a lap on him as he comes out of the chicane. And with that analogy, I think I was channeling my inner Martin Brundle. So I've heard it somewhere. I thought it sounded good. So at the
Oh,
moment,
yellow flag. We have Lee. Lee is facing the wrong way, which loses him a few positions to Bertie, Yvonne, and Rip and Tearing. So catching that corner there, catching him out, having a little bit of a half spin there. Just caught the back end of that.
that's unfortunately, he was looking strong, but at least he hasn't got any damage.
Yeah, like I say, kept out of the barrier, which is good. See, just was facing the wrong way temporarily, so he's got going again. But yeah, unfortunately loses a few positions to the people around him. But I'm sure he'll be able to get them back.
Yeah, it is a long race, 39 laps here, and well, we know it's going to be either multiple pit stops or, well, if Coach was in here, it'd be one pit stop, but we know it's going to be probably at least 2 pit stops, and you can recover a bit of time and just keep going at it solidly and get some very decent points. Ooh, Sophia, just watching that right rear tyre just shred itself to pieces round T6. So, yeah, good progress from Sophia so far. Started P2, up to P1, and so far, not running away with it, but definitely earning the stripes that we all know that she's got. I mean, she's very, very fast from Lobby 1 last week, and with progress at the moment, maybe back up to Lobby 1 after this race for event number 3.
Yeah, like we say, that Renault is it's one of those cars that you don't expect to do in the right driver and kind of the right tyres. It flies, and especially a driver like Sophia, she's able to get every inch of performance out of that.
Yeah, I quite agree. Lewis now, who was our former leader, knows the freshest tyres on the grid, is now caught up to Lee and Bertie. So I think this is where the action's going to be for the moment. See how long it takes Lee to get past. Sorry, Lewis to get past Lee or Bertie, or maybe even Lee past Bertie. So at the moment, well, we have got Lee going for a move on Bertie almost immediately. But goes to the pits.
Backs out of it. Yeah, backs out of it at the last minute to dive into the pits. That's one of those moments there. It's like, do I go that lap longer? You know, get that satisfaction, shall I say, of overtaking on a new lap. But yeah, strategy. When it cools, and it cooled Lee into the pits there.
Yeah, quite right. And one thing I do know about this track is the undercut here is especially powerful. I mean, you can see Lewis now all over the back of Bertie, who hasn't pitted, mind you. But yeah, Lewis is, after only 10 laps, has caught Bertie up with that fresher rubber. Simon is getting out of the way of these pair. Lewis gets the move done in T6, and now he's off after Yvonne. So that undercut is very powerful. And at the moment, Yvonne is definitely driving that Beetle on what looks like one tyre. Only the rear left has only got any sort of useful tread left on it. So our Lobby 2 drivers seem to like the same technique of just staying out. I mean, it seems to work for them though.
Yeah, and look, they're a lot braver than what I would be able to do, because I think I would just be spinning around and facing the wrong way. I like to know that there's a little bit of kind of bar underneath and a little bit of traction when I need it. But yeah, a lot of drivers find it a little bit better to go that little bit longer into the race. As I say that, Yvonne dives into the pit,
I think that
which
was the
promotes
right decision.
which promotes LB back up to P3.
Yeah, I definitely think that was the right decision.
It's that thing, isn't it? Risk versus reward. It's, do I go that extra lap with no tyres, or do I pit now, get on a new set, get that little bit faster, and further into the race?
Yeah, it's that stay out, don't pit, don't lose time in the pits, or risk a self-yeet, which yeah, with the barriers around here, they're very, very close to track here at Yamagiwa. Lee was especially lucky to miss them after that spin. So you have to say, I mean, like you, I personally do not like driving on the rims of these tyres, but our Lobby 2 drivers seem to be able to manage it better than perhaps we would. And yeah, it's a technique, isn't it?
Yeah, maybe we need to start driving on the rims a little bit more.
I think I'll pass.
I think it's one of those things around a track like this with the tire degradation being so high. I would just be scared that I don't go into the apex for that one. It just sends the car the wrong way. I'd just like to know that I'm kind of like that racer. I like to know where the car's pointing at me, that make it that little bit more predictable.
Agreed. Battle forming here, Sarah. Ripper is definitely closed in on Sophia. Sophia she's had a dead right tyre for quite a long time. And it just looks like Ripper oh, God, a lot more. Ooh, that's a brown trousers moment.
Yeah, both on board with that. I was on board from Rip and Deterrent's point of view, and yeah, definitely Sophia facing 90 degrees the wrong way into the barrier there, but catches it surprisingly.
And that'll get your heart rate going, won't it?
Yeah, like you say, a little bit of a new shorts moment there. I know for sure that trying to catch the car at such a high speed and such a tricky section, it's very hard to do. So good one from Sophia there from managing to catch the car, but does pick herself up a half a second penalty for track limits.
Yeah, I was gonna say she went over that first chicane there, and it was almost launching. So she definitely abused the limits there a little bit, but half second penalty is not too bad. I think she might take the opportunity to jump in the pits after this and sort of try and negate the penalty and actually get the pit stop out of the way. We'll see. We'll see very, very soon. Will she pit? Yes, she does. And so does Rip and Taterin. Yep, shocker. LB Lewis takes up the lead again, Sarah.
Yeah, LB will, I'm assuming, will be very happy at this point. Obviously, getting promoted back into the lead.
It's a strange one here, though. I mean, you see Rip and Taterin, he's almost caught up Sophia and Rip and Taterin. And he has more fuel in the time that they've done one pit stop. So it's a strange one here. The undercut, again, is so powerful. New tyres are so good. But the temptation just to stay out and keep track position is also there as well. I mean, I would normally equate that with like a tricky tight track, like say in Formula 1, like Monaco, and you just stay out and you block people from passing you. But in this case, it seems to work here too.
Yeah, I think I'm going to refer back to that risk versus reward. It's if you can hook it and you can make a good lap on some bad tires, then yeah, you hold that track position for a little bit longer. But it's like you say, the new tire just looks so much better around here, and underneath you've got that traction if needs be for such high speed corners. So yeah, obviously a few drivers going for the no tyre option, but also the other drivers picking the new set of rubber and going a little bit faster.
Yeah, exactly that. I think Simon's had another off somewhere. His car looks quite damaged, both front and rear bumper and front right as well. So he's had a bit of a shunt somewhere. But I'm still impressed that he's definitely improved even from Interlagos, and this is only his second competitive race. So keep going, man. And it is a learning curve, particularly around here, but you've got some other circuits which will suit your driving style, and yeah, keep going. We'll all have a bad race occasionally. I can speak to that around here, but yeah, as long as you're enjoying yourself, just keep on going. Just keep swimming.
Just keep swimming. Yeah, just to echo those words, yeah, a track like this, limited hours on this game, this is definitely one of the trickier tracks. I was on board with that as well. That took me by surprise there. Another Code Brown moment there.
We're gonna have to start sponsoring underwear. Oh, gee. New shorts.
Well, I was going to say, if we're feeling scared, just imagine how the drivers are feeling.
Oh, crikey! Yeah, start selling new shorts, please. Logo shorts and underwear and heart monitors. Bertie is still out there, still in P2, still hasn't pitted, but that is very much on his sort of norm, isn't it? So he likes to go a lot longer than a lot of the other drivers. Has a way about him, like I'm going to equate it to Formula One again, like say Perez, who's like the tyre whisperer.
Yeah, obviously it goes to show that he can hold on to his tyres for quite a long while, but even around a track like this, even the best tyre whisperers, they come to this track and the strategy kind of gets blown out of proportion. So yeah, I envisage Bertie coming in soon, as just having a quick look at his lap times. Actually saying that, still quite consistent with those lap times, but yeah, I think that right front tyre will become a little bit tricky shortly.
I was just considering, will he be ambitious enough to maybe go for a one stop, but I don't think that fuel is going to get him to lap 20. So I don't know, I think we're going to see 2 sets of maybe 15 laps on the mediums and softs at the end, so keep an eye on Bertie. I think he's going to have a good one if he just keeps up going this way. At the moment, out front again, we got Lewis with another dead front right tyre, but he seems comfortable in the moment ahead of Bertie. He's got at least a 10-second gap to Bertie, and then Sophia is now catching up to Bertie, only a few seconds behind with absolutely brand spanking new medium tyres. So lots going on, and that fight with Lee and Ripin is still going, so.
It is. I'm just watching from Ripin Deterren's point of view. Lee getting on the back of his bumper, making sure that Ripin Deteren has seen him in his mirrors and he's know that Lee's going for that move shortly. Lee goes up into the inside, the outside of the corner, into the final corner. Can he get the move stuck?
Oh, that was good. That was very good. He's trying to break the toe as well. A good bit of racing from these two.
He is indeed, whipping side to side.
It looks like he's got so much energy in the car this week. That sprint race win has really energised it.
Yeah, it has indeed. Like we've said previously, it goes to show when you jump in a car that you're comfortable with, it just fills you with so much confidence. So it's good to see Lee doing so well in the car that he loves.
Exactly that, and good professional, clean racing between these pair too. Ripin Deteren, we know from other race series, and it is good to see we can have drivers to slot in and race to such a high standard in Lobby 1 or Lobby 2. So absolute pleasure to have him here as well, and both of these drivers providing a good show.
Yeah, and talking about that, LB looking on the back of Sophia now. So did LB have an accident somewhere?
No, he had a pit stop. He had a pit
stop.
He
had a pit stop.
Yeah.
Ah.
I think he just changed tyres and put in a splash and dash of fuel, so he's come up behind Sophia.
Well, that explains it. But yeah, obviously getting on the back of Sophia and Bertie. So that pit stop not costing him too many positions.
Yeah, the pit stop here is the pits. Well, there goes Bertie. He didn't want any part of what was coming up behind him. But yeah, the pit stops here, the actual pit lane isn't that long. I think it's 17 odd seconds for just a tyre swap. So obviously add fuel, and you're staying there a bit longer. But now this is developing for a actual true fight for the win.
Yeah,
you know
obviously
I don't
driver. Yeah, like I was just about to say, driver obviously Sophia all the way down to Ripin Deteren. They're very close to each other on the tracks. It's anyone's game at the moment.
Absolutely agreed. Just keeping an eye on Lee and Ripin Deteren. Lee's soft tyres are almost dead now. He's going to possibly start falling back. This is the kind of track where the soft tyres give you that grip instantly, and you can pass almost anyone. But as soon as they go away, person that was behind you who might suddenly be a threat to you.
Yeah, it's one of those that you'll be looking ahead, but you'll also be looking behind in that rearview mirror, seeing the cars getting closer and closer. Laps.
Oh, unfortunately, I've spotted Ziggy having a bit of a moment by himself again and some more damage. But it's good to, again, see him back behind the wheel. But not every race will be a stellar one, so he gets out of his system, gets back on the road again, and off he goes. There's definitely tracks, particularly with this calendar that we've got, are going to suit some drivers more than others.
Oh, 100%. Obviously, this track here being quite a high-speed track, but with some challenging corners, and the tracks that are coming up, they kind of vary in speeds. In some of got a little bit tighter corners, a little bit more speed still. So yeah, like you say, a few tracks coming up to the drivers, but it's all about getting that track time. Say, just to reiterate your words, not all races are good races, but like we said in the intro, points it's definitely worth driving, getting towards. You're going to pick up some points. You're going to pick up good amount of points, which you never know could help towards the end of the season. You know, when the drivers are battling out for those few extra points. Yeah, staying at and getting some points is definitely worth.
Yeah, I've just spotted Lee has just let Ribbon-Tatarian through down into the first chicane. Very odd ones there. It seems to slow up on the straight, and
potentially looking at his tyres, potentially he didn't really have the traction to fight. So obviously letting Ribbon-Tatarian through, it makes him a little bit more safe. The fact that he knows he's not going to get in his way, potentially, or maybe potentially had an incident quite soon.
Possibly, absolutely possibly. But yeah, at least he's still riding high at the moment, still in P4. I mean, Yvonne will be taking the place, possibly Bertie 2 off him, but he's definitely in the fight. I think particularly even for a podium here, despite that spin. And at the moment, LBR Lewis closing in on Sophia. This battle at just about halfway through the race. I think this is going to go to the end.
Yeah, and it's quite hard to call out of these two so far who's gonna get that top spot of the podium. Both drivers are obviously doing really well. And, yeah, obviously on slightly different strategies. Them. So yeah, like you say, a bit too early to call. See, we've got 20 more laps. These two battling it out. So bring it on.
It looks like we've got two drivers out there on the hard tyres.
Oh, Sophia goes off. We spotted that at the same time. Oh, Sophia nearly facing the wrong way, catches it again. Luckily, it doesn't pick up any damage, but unfortunately, obviously that little off-track excursion there costing her the top spot at the moment. But she's not too far behind LB. So, again, it's still all to play for. This is where, you know, the heart rate will be going up a little bit, but it's keep cool, keep calm, and just carry on.
Yeah, exactly that. She does like dipping a tyre into that grass. Every time she does it, I have a mini heart attack. Whew. And I was saying a few drivers have gone to the hards, Yvonne and are Ziggy at the moment, and it looks like a few of them are going away from the strategy and running on the rims of those tyres. So I think we're seeing a bit of evolution in strategy as we carry on.
Yeah, like it's similar to what happened in Lobby 1 as well. A few drivers going on some different tyres, different compounds, seeing what works, seeing what doesn't. And it just goes back to those hard tyres. If you can get them working, if you can get them heated up quickly, then they are... Oh, we've got a yellow flag. That's a Ziggy. Fortunately having bit. Lewis and Sophia kind of goes past him.
Yeah, I think he's having a similar race to what I did at this place. But it's a spinner all the time. It's a bit of fun.
Yeah, exactly. And I think we've just got to reiterate how difficult this track actually is with the high speed, the undulation. Yeah, it's definitely not easy. No, all drivers are there. Pretty good showing. So
yeah, I can only agree with you. The off-camber corners, particularly the long T1, T6, and then the chicanes, which you can launch over, but every time you do it, you can end up backwards. And some of these curbs are absolutely lethal here. So I mean, it's a fun-looking track, and it's a nice one to race on, but it does absolutely bite with those barriers about 6 feet away from the track.
yeah, when it bites, it bites.
Yeah, absolutely does. Battle happening, Sarah. P5, Yvonne, Bertie, P6. It looks like he's in the slipstream and lining up a pass.
Yeah, looks like he just stays behind Yvonne going into turn 1, but yeah, looks like these two will be battling it out towards the end, or actually in the next few laps potentially. Obviously, Yvonne being on that hard set of tyres, it might compromise her just that little bit, Bertie, on the softs. So yeah, I feel maybe the hards will come into Yvonne's hand a bit later.
I think you might be right. You might be right. They've got roughly the same amount of fuel as well. Bertie trying to go around the outside of Yvonne round turn 6, gets that move completed. That's a cracker.
That's a cracker. But yeah, it just goes to show that that hard set of tyres, it does compromise speeds just that little bit. And obviously it reflects on that move there. Bertie on the softs, getting it stuck and getting the move done pretty early on into the lap.
I'm impressed with that move.
Yeah, it was a hell of a move there. Like you say, if you get on the wrong side of those curbs, car can be very unpredictable. And Bertie definitely wasn't shy on that curb a little bit, getting a little bit more speed on the exit.
Yeah, one of our veteran racers make a veteran move there, I feel. And the battle at the front is hotting up again. Sophia's caught back up to Lewis and thinking about making another move. And despite a sort of reduced size in the lobby this week, and there's still action every single lap so far.
Yeah, it just goes to show when you have some talented drivers like these, that there's battles across the field.
Now, do we think Sophia is going to have the tyres and the pace to make a move? I mean, she's definitely looking at it at the moment. I mean, it has a near dead rear right tyre, but it's not slowing her up. But on the flip side, Lewis has a near dead front right tyre, so one's going to have the traction, one's going to have the turning power, and they're kind of meeting in the middle somewhat.
Maybe they need to swap tyres. Yeah. But yeah, obviously the BMW being a little bit rear happy compared to that Renault, so if LB can get it stuck and make that BMW as wide as he can, he might be able to kind of force Sophia to attack a little bit while he defends. But they obviously both going quite close to each other. I think Sophia's definitely reading what's on LB Race's bumper here.
Exactly that. And this is a very interesting battle as well, from two very different drivers, from very different cars, and very different wear pattern on the tyres. One can't turn, one can't put power down. So this is a good one. But turn 6, it just looks like Sophia can get that car rotated a lot more. And there you go, she pulls out, thinking about the move. Lewis goes defensive into the chicane. Will she go running outside? Not this lap. Good defensive move from Lewis. Moved only once. But as you can see, he's sort of struggling to put the power down as well as trying to get away from Sophia. Particularly around this course, I think knowing Sophia's pace, anyone was going to want to.
No, it's that fact is, and although you want to overtake, it's sometimes better to just wait that little bit longer to get the move done and dusted, so you don't want to get yourself in too much drama. Yeah, There's a lot of time there, Sophie.
Yeah, she got a bit squirrely. Got a bit squirrely coming out of the final chicane. I think that rear traction's starting to bite now. And yeah, just lost a good half a second there or so. I'll tell you what though, quiet race from Ripon to Terran so far. Quietly just getting on with things in P3. Only about 10 seconds behind the two in front. Comes in for a stop, maybe looking for the undercut. And yeah, going from there.
Yeah, sometimes all it takes is just having that quieter race, you know, less drama. Just can enjoy the race and enjoy being in the position that he's been in a car that he's driving remarkably well, I've got to say.
I call that style of race the big crazy Bertie race. The big crazy Bertie method. Somehow just turns up at the end without having pitted half as often as most people around him, and somehow gets into the good positions. But hey, it works for some. Oh, Sophia!
It does. Oh no!
In the barrier. And I think we've lost her.
In the barrier, and yeah, and gone. Some might say bang, and the Sophia is gone.
Yeah, I think so, and I don't know about you, but I have a sneaking suspicion that might be a little bit of a rage quit. Hopefully it's a disconnect, but that is unfortunate. She was on for a massive haul of points, particularly, I think, at worst a P2.
Yeah, obviously, Lewis coming in now. Yeah, if she pitted as well, it wouldn't have lost her too much time repairing that damage. She would have come out just a few seconds behind be racing. So yeah, if it is a disconnect, it's a bit of an unfortunate one. But if it's a rage quit, it's one of those judgments kind of made out of, you know, that split second. And sometimes I can understand the frustration, but it's about kind of putting that frustration to the back of your mind, using it to fuel you. You know, you've had a little bit of an off, but if you can switch it around towards the end of the race, then you'll feel much better for it. So yeah, hopefully disconnect, but if it was a rage quit, it just goes to show that if you just wait that few minutes more, you know, go for an extra lap, pit, get off that damage, you never know what's going to happen. It's a long race to go, so yeah.
Right. And I feel that Lewis, he's gone to the medium tyres. I think he's going to the end now. Only 14 laps to go. As we know, you can definitely make that if you run that front right tyre down to the canvas.
Yeah, so. And obviously taking on a full tank of fuel as well. So potentially, yeah, he's in it for the long haul, in it towards, well, trying to go towards the end of the race. And potentially might have a quiet rest of the race. Obviously, losing Sophia. We've got a yellow flag up ahead.
I think that's our Ziggy, I'm afraid.
It might well be. Yeah, unfortunately, obviously, like I say, it's a difficult track, so don't be too harsh on yourself, Ziggy. Yeah, going back to LB Racing. Yeah, I think he's in for a quiet rest of the race. Obviously, he can breathe a little bit now, knowing that Fiat isn't behind him, looking to overtake. So it's just about keeping it on the track and going to the end now.
Yeah, exactly that. And for the moment, Lee picks up the lead as well. He's going to be happy as anything there. So one more step. He's definitely going to have to stop again because he has not got the fuel or the tyres to go to the end. But Lee running P1 currently, Lewis P2, Bertie P3 and Pitts are his final, what I would imagine will be the final time. Yvonne in P5, which will just be promoted to P4. Ziggy P6, maybe a little bit of damage, but he's just going to push his luck a little bit coming out of turn 1. But yeah, still running. And Simon's going to get another handful of points as well, running in P7. So all drivers are going to get a big handful of points here. I'm going to be keeping an eye. But you know, I cannot stop looking at the 4GT from Ripon to Terran. Just, it's such a beautiful livery. It's gorgeous.
Yeah, a beautiful livery on a beautiful car that we don't get to see too often. But it's good to see it being used and in such capable hands of ripping to tearing. Like we say, going for that big crazy birdie method of keeping quiet but keeping it on track, and is on for a good result.
I think I
Oh,
just saw that.
we've just had an overtake for the lead. Unfortunately, I think Lee potentially getting a little bit sideways there. Didn't quite catch action. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think Lee will
I
be
spotted
coming in a
that.
little bit. Yeah, I think Lee will be coming in a little bit, kind of before he
There he goes.
expected to.
Yeah, I think we reached that point where, with the conditions as they are, with the light fading, the track temperature will be lowering. What you could have got away with earlier on in the race, particularly with like the flatter tyres, is it won't necessarily be the same for the drivers this late in the race. So I think they're going to be definitely running it a little bit more conservative. So Lee back in for his final pit stop, Yvonne back in for her final pit stop as well, which is going to promote, I believe that'll promote Bertie into P3, if, or at least P4. It depends when Lee gets out of the pits there. This is going to be a tight one.
Yeah, obviously Lee taking on quite a lot of fuel there. He's in for the long haul on those set of softs. Oh, it looks like he might just come out ahead of Big Crazy Bertie here. Obviously, Big Crazy Bertie will have a lot more speed compared to Lee coming into that first corner.
Yeah, this is going to be a battle for P3.
Yeah, bring it on.
They've both got roughly the same age of tyres. Lee's got a little bit more fuel, both on mediums. So yeah, these pair are definitely going to the end. Lee will be able to rev the nuts off that car and get it to the end, just giving it all the revs and all the power. And Bertie is not exactly shy on fuel either, so he's going to be pushing. Oh, I think we have a spin, unfortunately, yeah, in T1 from Simon, but I do love the look of that car. That coppery bronze is absolutely gorgeous. Again, this is a tricky track. Look forward next week to High Speed Ring, and it's one I'm personally looking forward to driving myself, so good luck to all the drivers for the future race. But in the meantime, 11 laps to go for Lewis, and he's looking strong.
Yeah, definitely looking strong. And someone else that's also looking strong is retiring blind race. Place and enjoying it.
Simon having a bit of an excursion there.
Just saying hello to the barriers.
We've all done it at that corner.
We have.
Yeah. But at the moment,
It's just that thing is so easily done.
Yeah.
Getting on those curbs, and even when trying to get off the curbs, it's like, nope, yeah, you're stuck with.
Yeah, and I had a conversation with Swizzy during the week, and with the change of conditions and the wind that is on the circuit, some corners can change drastically throughout the race time, and we'll be catching some drivers out.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like we just saw with Lee, it's you could drive this, this track for, is it probably 26, 27 laps? It just takes that one taking on that too much curb to send you facing the wrong. Yeah, it's about keeping concentrated, trying to keep consistent, or as consistent as. Yeah, it just takes that one little tiny mistake, mess it up.
Yeah, it really can happen. Just keep an eye on the Bertie and Lee battle, because I think that is the battle that we're going to be having on track at the moment, as Bertie really pushes his luck on the entry to the final chicane, on the grass on the entry. Oof. But has got away with it. Simon Pitts to fix the damage and gets back out there for his final stint. But at the moment, Lee looks like he's going to bag his second podium effectively of the event, so a definite positive race week for him.
Yeah, he'll be loving it. Obviously, we know that he's been wanting to get on the podium for so long now, and last week, where he got his first ever Nighthawk Racing podium, to then potentially, with 10 laps to go, he's on for not one podium tonight, but 2.
And 1 win as well, so...
And 1 win under his belt, yeah.
Yeah, can definitely say he'd be proud of that one. And I had a pleasure of speaking to him before the race. He said he wasn't feeling very well, so by the end of this one, hopefully he's going to be smiling.
Yeah, obviously we know good results can kind of boost that dopamine level. So yeah, actually after this, might not be feeling better, but he might be feeling a little bit
Proud.
Yeah, more happy and more proud, and obviously we're proud of him.
Quite right, quite right. And at the moment, the one driver that's definitely gone under the radar like the entire race virtually is Yvonne running P5, and no trips to the barrier, no damage, no real incidents, just has got on with it. And I think at the moment she is running the controller rather than the wheel. Isn't that correct?
That is correct, yes. And she's not kind of used to driving the controller, so she's race on race. She's been getting used to driving the controller and doing remarkably well so far.
I think I have just spotted, unfortunately caught the end of it, but I saw Simon backwards. Now, big crazy Bertie has dropped a bunch of time to Lee and it's got front end damage. I wonder if there's been a collision there between Simon and Bertie.
Potentially, we did see Simon go across the track there. I'm not quite sure who he did collect, so potentially it might have been Bertie. Not what you want with obviously 9 laps to go.
But moving on, at very least, Bertie's still looking at a P4, which is a great haul of points. And at least that means for Lee, he can now relax. So, at this point, sir, I think we should start having a little think. Who's perhaps driver of the day so far, as far as you're concerned?
Ooh, good question. It's tough. It's a tough call, because obviously I think I've got 3 options in my head. I've got Lee for obviously picking up his first ever Nighthawk Racing win, and potentially he's on for a podium, podium number 2. I've also got Ripping to Tearing, because he's gone under the radar. He's kept on the track. He's up into 2nd place and doing a phenomenal job on his first ever Nighthawk Racing event. But also got LB Racing. He's also just got on with it. He's shown his skill level in that BMW. So yeah, for me it's a tough to answer.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Who was it that got 3rd in the sprint? Remind me.
Ooh.
Our memories have gotten that short. It's not very helpful, is it? But
no.
Yeah. Ooh, that is a good list. Ziggy Pitts on the last few laps.
I think it was. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think it was. Was Lee L.
It was Lee and then Sophia.
Yeah, not quite sure in what order. But yeah, obviously trying to convert that podium into a win.
We were very much enamoured with Lee in the sprint race and watching him try and defend off Sophia towards the end.
Yes, trying to make that Porsche as wide as he can.
Absolutely that. We have another battle. I'll answer who I think is the driver of the day as well in a minute. But another battle. Yvonne, with Bertie having that incident, has caught Bertie. So this one is going to go to the end. And do you know what? I think this is the battle on track now. But I was going to say LB Lewis definitely. And Lee's a massive shout as well, and Ripping to Tearing. I think we basically come to the same conclusion, not because of the positions, but because of their showings, and they're doing great this week.
It's so much harder to pick a driver of the day when everyone's doing so well. I think we just need like maybe we should have a driver of the day for every day of the week. Because oh yeah, Bertie back in with 8 laps to go, potentially going on a set of. the end, getting rid of that damage. Trying to be a little bit faster towards the end.
I have to say that is a surprising move. Maybe he just didn't want to live with that damage, like you say, and he's got to go to soft. He's going to softs. Maybe he's going to try and steal the fastest lap.
Yeah, stealing the fastest lap and trying to catch up onto the back of Yvonne. Yeah, maybe potentially, like you say, maybe that damage was causing him a little bit of havoc there. So the best option for him to get that damage repaired, get back on a set of softs towards the end, and try and be a lot faster than the drivers around him.
Exactly that. But you know what? I think we have to come back to the debate of driver of the day. Overall, I think it has to be somewhere between the two. I'm going to presume at the moment that the positions are going to stay as they are, and I know it's commentator's curse, but I'm going to presume that Lewis is going to hold off Ripon for the moment, as he is. Lewis is going out into turn, well, the first chicane at the moment, and Ripon is at turn 6, a good 15 seconds gap. But Lee winning the sprint race is a massive shout. Lewis, if he comes home with the victory for the feature race, is another big shout too. But I'm leaning towards Lee just because he has impressed today, and he's gone round the outside of a couple of drivers, and he's putting good moves here and there, everywhere. Fortunately, had a spin, but he's carried on. He's not hit the wall. He's had a great race as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, obviously, I think quite a few drivers having a little bit of trouble around this track today. Obviously, a little bit of spins, a little bit of barrier touching. So, just goes to show that this track does catch a lot of drivers out. But yeah, I've got to say, yeah, I'm leaning towards LB Racing or Lee, just for sheer pace, sheer skill. Oh, Ripon coming in. Potentially, maybe for fuel.
Yes, he does. He does need fuel. We only had 10% left, with 6 laps. I mean, that's those numbers that don't add up as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, obviously that 4GT burning through the fuel, preventing him from going towards the end. But
came across all American there, didn't it? I need fuel.
I need fuel. Yeah. Give me the fuel.
Interesting.
It comes out in second still, so obviously had a nice little gap between himself and Lee.
He's also gone for the soft tyre, so I think the battle for the fastest lap is between him and Bertie.
Yeah, obviously the fastest lap at the moment is with LB Racing with a 1:33.9.
So yeah, the sun's definitely starting to set here as well. And I know I mentioned it last week in Interlagos, but when you see the backfire coming out the exhaust of that BRZ, oh, is it beautiful? It's something you don't get with some other formulas like the hybrid and other mechanical devices. Just it is a standard engine, ICE engine, and unburned fuel. And whoa, okay, Lewis is coming in.
Oh yeah, that front right.
I think we're seeing a battle for the fastest lap, Sarah.
Yeah, battle for the fastest lap. Going on to a new set of rubber for safety.
Yeah, he hasn't even added fuel. That was a tactical decision to try and steal the points, I feel.
Yeah, obviously covering his back just in case. Winning those few extra points, which will definitely help towards the end of the season.
Completely. And in the feature race, it's worth saying that the fastest lap is worth 2 points compared to the 1 in the sprint race. So it all adds up, and if he wants to get back into lobby 1, which I have a feeling Lewis will do at the end of this one, then he's doing exactly the right thing he needs to do to get there. But the one thing I've definitely been impressed with is the racing quality in both lobbies. And it has been an absolute pleasure to watch Lobby 2 alongside yourself, Sarah, and with our drivers.
Oh yeah, I couldn't agree more. The drives across both lobbies have been phenomenal so far, and it just goes to show, obviously we've got 2 lobbies, but we've got 2 lobbies full of talented drivers. So yeah, I just wish, the GT7 lobby you know, we could have all of the drivers in one lobby fighting it out, but unfortunately not. But yeah, it just goes to show that there's no kind of split on skill level, split on kind of drivers. They're both in both lobbies driving remarkable and in some good racing action.
Exactly that. Exactly. I'm just keeping an eye on Ripon Tateran at the moment, who seems to be winding up for an attack on the fastest lap. And I haven't seen him post any purple sectors as of yet, but this will be a teller as he comes across a line on just over a quarter of a tank of fuel on new soft tyres. Where's he end up on the old lap time? 34.8. He hasn't done it yet, but I don't think that was a representative lap. So I did personally find good driving this course, particularly in practice. It took a lap or two for the heat to come into the tyres and the grip to fully appear, so maybe this will be his attacking lap.
Yeah, potentially, like you say, obviously, when they come out of the pits, it does take them a kind of a few laps to get back into the groove of it, being on the slightly faster tyre. So potentially Ripon Tateran taking that lap to kind of get to grips with those tyres. Obviously going on the slightly softer set, but obviously we've still got 3 laps to go, so there's definitely time, there's definitely room to get the fastest lap in.
Yeah, completely agree on that. I was just keeping an eye on Lewis there for a moment. Those discs, and you can see it on the Ford GT there as well. The front disc glowing red. I mean, that'd be about 1,000 degrees. I mean, you wouldn't want to go anywhere near those, particularly on a track. But it looks so cool.
Oh yeah, they do look really, really cool. I was just thinking as well, obviously it's got a lot darker than what we saw in lobby 1, so potentially maybe some of the drivers struggling to get the tyre temperatures back up to optimum, which could mean that the drivers going onto that set of softs might not get the fastest lap. As I say that, you know, commentators curse and all that, LB does get the fastest sector there, so looking to improve his time.
He does indeed.
And hold on to that fastest lap.
Ooh, is Lewis on a wheel or a controller? Do you remember?
I believe it's a wheel.
Interesting, because he's flashing his lights, and that's usually indicative of a controller driver. When you're turning the stick, you accidentally push the L3 button, and that flashes the lights. So interesting. But maybe he just clipped a button on his wheel. Yeah,
or maybe he knew we were talking about him.
But as you said, purple sector 1, purple sector 2. He's definitely pushing. I'm going to keep an eye on Lewis for this one as he comes around the final corner. I think we're going to see the fastest lap go, and he's going to secure his 2 points. Looks like the rest of the field don't have an answer to it.
No, not being able to counteract him with that fastest lap, improving it by over 3 tenths. So yeah, obviously it goes to show that soft set of tyres, when you're comfortable, you can definitely extract more performance out of that car.
Yeah, exactly that. And I'll tell you what, if I was Lee at the moment, I would be considering pitting on this lap as he come round the final corner now. Pitting for a set of softs and then having a crack at that fastest lap with only a lap or 2 to go. But he passes it up on this one, but he still have another opportunity next lap. But perhaps he's just thinking, let's just get to the end and get solid points rather than try and risk it all and go for a fastest lap that might not be there.
Yeah, like you say, a podium is a podium at the end of the day. And obviously coming from his first win as well, I'm sure he will happily take a third place.
Battle on the track, Sarah. Bertie has caught Yvonne.
Yeah, obviously Yvonne's tyres looking a little bit worse for wear compared to Bertie's. So yeah, Bertie getting on that softer set a little bit later means that he, or saying that,
He's got
That
three
front
good
part.
tyres.
Yeah, he's got three. Three will do. Who needs that front right anyway? Not these drivers, apparently. But yeah, obviously, being on that slightly softer tyre, he's able to catch up to Yvonne within the last couple of laps. So it'd be interesting to see who comes out on top between these two drivers here.
Yeah, and exactly that. I'll tell you what, I love the effect of the brake lights on that rear wing of the BRZ as well. I think I just like that car as well.
To be fair, I think we both enjoy kind of watching these cars go around in the dark. It does make the cars look very pretty.
It does, and I'm absolutely adoring the little Yeetle as well. And yes, I did say Yeetle.
I just had to check there.
Oh, Lee has been in the barrier.
Yeah, picking up some front end damage and suspension damage. And I think he might just have third place in the bag. Yvonne obviously being slightly further back compared to Lee. So it's all about bringing it home to the end, like bringing it home now. And making sure to keep out those barriers for that last lap.
Yeah, that's exactly what they're going to have to do. And at the moment, Yvonne is going to have her mirrors full of a big, crazy Bertie right behind her. And this is going to be the lap where it's going to be done, if it's going to be done. Lewis is already on his final lap. And in fact, he's about to win, Sarah. He's about to take the victory tonight. Take it away.
Yeah. LB Racing coming home in first place, flashing the lights as you go past the checker flag there. And I've got to say, what a win. Very kind of, commanding win there. A little bit lonely maybe after that unfortunate Sophia incident, but I'm sure he'll be happy nevertheless. Obviously, that'll bring out a lot of points and potentially maybe a promotion into Lobby 1. So I think LB Racing will be looking forward to that. Coming home in second, just behind, we have Ripon Deterrin. A very quiet race, but a very, very good race from Ripon Deterrin, being his first race of the season, his first Nighthawk Racing event. So yeah, bringing home a second place. What a race from him. In third place, just about to cross the line now, we have Power Max Racing Lee, also known as PMR Lee, crossing the line in third. Like we say, a little bit of damage, but I'm sure he'll be very happy with taking that third place. Could have all ended badly on that last lap, but yeah, picking up that third place, I'm sure he'll be very happy after winning the sprint race and getting a podium in the feature race as well. Just behind them, we have Yvonne and Bertie. Yvonne keeping that fourth place, and Bertie keeping the fifth place. They're both going to be on very similar points, so this could be a battle that will go throughout the season, which I'm excited to see. Coming home in sixth place, we have Ziggy in that Toyota Supra, and then Simon in seventh place with an unfortunate DNF for Sophia.
Yeah, well said, Sarah. I mean, all in all, I think that was a very good, solid race from a lot of the drivers, and particularly the top. I think the top four, in particular, are going to come away very, very happy. Obviously, LB Racing Lewis with the win there, an absolutely outstanding result, like you said, against Sophia. A little bit lonely after that battle, perhaps, but showed very good tactical awareness by pitting towards the end, rather than just circulating, but pitting towards the end to secure that fastest lap. And, well, quite frankly, it's nice to have a bit of fun out on track and set the fastest lap, isn't it? And after that...
yeah, 100%.
Yeah. And then after that, Ripon Deterrin, great showing for his first race alongside us, and look forward to seeing a lot more of him on track, particularly in that Ford GT, which will be very strong at some particular races. One potentially next week too. Otherwise, Lee with that sprint win and a P3, despite the damage at the end, I think he's going to be absolutely happy as anything with that. And he's essentially he got a podium, his first podium last week, podium this week, and a win. I think he's on the way up. So brilliant racing from him. But I think we're going to have to circle back round to driver of the day. I think I've got a name.
I'll let you go first. I will let you go first this time.
I am going to go with Lewis, just because of that crazy good battle with Sophia, and being such a commanding win in the feature race, but only a fraction ahead of Lee, and again only just ahead of perhaps Ripon Tatarian and Yvonne, who have also had absolutely solid performances and have definitely been well worthy of being in the top four of Lobby 2.
Oh, I'm a little bit conflicted here. I've got to go with. I feel like I've got to go with Lee. Obviously picking up his first win, which I know he'll be completely buzzing about, and picking up a podium as well in the same night. So it just goes to show that his racing in the Nighthawk racing is on an upwards trajectory. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Lee as my driver of the day. So obviously 2 drivers of the day. We have myself. I picked Lee, and Midnight picking LB Racing. So a very 2 great drivers and great calls for the driver of the day. And I think honourable mentions as well, like Midnight said, to Ripon Tatarian, Yvonne, Bertie as well, and I mean we can't forget Ziggy and Simon as well. Obviously, a little bit of quiet race for them, but track time nevertheless. Lap on lap, improving their times, improving their racing lines. So I'm sure they'll be looking forward to racing around High Speed Ring Reverse next week.
Quite right. And another shout out to Piper in the Viper for joining us for his first race in the sprint earlier on. So all in all, again, another impressive race, and frankly, I'm looking forward to High Speed Ring already. Can we have that tomorrow, Sarah? Move up the schedule
Yeah,
a bit.
why not?
Let's do it.
Like we say, that these races are both lobbies providing some great racing, some very entertaining battles as well. So yeah, loving the season so far. And for anybody that's watching as well, if you want to get involved, we are looking for more drivers. So make sure to contact the admin on any of the Nighthawk Racing social pages. Get in contact with us if you like the racing action, you like what you see. Come and give us a message, and we'll get you out on the grid.
Exactly that, and we're always looking to add members to our extended family. And yeah, if you like what you see here and you like good, clean racing, this is the place to be.
But yeah, just to end off, we'll be back next week at the High Speed Ring Reverse, a track that obviously we drove the normal layout last season. A lot of the drivers obviously another tricky track, some high speed corners, some tricky curbs, and high degradation again. So excited to see how the drivers do. But don't forget, subscribe to the Nighthawk Racing YouTube channel, where this video will be going up. Some battles across the 2 lobbies will also be posted. They get their own little dedicated video, as well as on other social platforms. But yeah, make sure to subscribe, make sure to hit that notification bell, and we will see you next week for High Speed Ring Reverse.
I'm looking forward to it already. Let's bring it on. And thank you, everyone. Thank you for being a part of this broadcast and the extended Nighthawk Racing family and the F1RST Championship. So it's been fun. Catch you on the next one.
Nighthawk over and out. See you next time.
Outstanding night of racing by everyone. From the go, I was focused on one thing, a podium, to continue from last week's race 1. However, Kyoto is a well-practiced track for me, which must have helped. Did have a few schoolboy errors, but thankfully early on. So managed to take the win in the sprint. How I managed, I don't know, as 2 laps to go, I had to crank up the TC level and the brake bias as both right side tires were well and truly in the red. The feature wasn't a victory by my first feature podium in the Nighthawk Racing Series.
My race was okay. A few mishaps due to driver error as well as the track not being suited for the car or vice versa. Tire degradation was ridiculously high for the Group 3 cars, so multiple boxes were more than necessary to even make it to the end. If you exclude my skill issue, *coughs*, the race was all right. Drivers were clean with minimal contact due to drivers making mistakes or overlapping of drivers' speeds causing some door banging or a few love taps. All were respectful and rescinded positions. Etiquette was prioritized over a race win, which everyone loves to see. Overall, if I hadn't picked such a bad performing car for the endurance racing, I would have made it to the end and given the immediate competition a run for their money. Thanks for having me.
With it being my first race in this series, qualifying third, which I thought was really good with the Ford GT not being the top car. After starting the race, I thought it was a good idea to fuel, say for the first stint, to allow faster pit stops later on. Using short shifts and fuel mixture, allowing Lee through and just try to keep close. Later on, in the first stint after other racers were pitting, I started to push and burn a bit of fuel off that I had saved. It was quite a lonely race, just managing the gap to those behind, and pitting for softs towards the end was my goal. With keeping close eye on what Lewis was doing at the end, I'm sure he made a mistake, and the gap came down. I thought no point pushing, just bring it home for P2, great first race, and was good battling on track, and even the back markers doing a great job to let us through. Cannot wait for the next round.
So yeah, the sprint race was going well. Finally feel like this track was good for the BMW. Fortunately, I had a spin about halfway through the race, which resulted in me dropping back to third, but still an okay result. Then we got to the feature race. Kart fell really good for this, the BMW did. Really good on the softs and the mediums, and we were able to bring that one back in P1 by just over 20 seconds, which was a great result as well.